Okay, so good afternoon, and thanks to everyone for joining Ground Truth's webinar on how to boost holiday sales with location marketing. My name is Mary Claire Hitson. I'm an account executive with Ground Truth, and my co-host today is our Senior Manager of Marketing Insights, Nicole Gincher. So we are beyond excited to spend the next 45 minutes or so with you guys. We're going to take the first 30 minutes to address content, and then we're going to devote the 15 minutes at the end for any questions that you guys have. So if you have any questions, you can submit them throughout the presentation at any time, and then we'll address them at the end. So today's agenda includes a brief overview by me discussing location marketing and how Ground Truth verifies and interprets visitation data. Nicole will then share helpful strategies and insights that we were able to garner through the 2018 holiday season and talk about how to apply them for driving traffic into brick and mortars for this year's holiday season. And then finally, we're going to use those tips shared by Nicole to create a mock campaign within our self-serve platform Ads Manager. So let's go ahead and get started. Since 2009, Ground Truth's focus has been to launch the idea of location as its own category within the marketing landscape. So similar to what Google did for search and Facebook's done for social, that's what Ground Truth's done in the location space. Over the last decade, we've built a platform concentrated on using a power of location intent to help drive performance. So this concept emerges from the belief that a person's physical location, patterns, and behaviors in the real world paint a more robust and true depiction of who they are as a consumer. So for example, like I might visit higher end retailers online like Pottery Barn, West Elm, and Restoration Hardware to get some ideas on how I want to decorate my home. And I might even go onto Facebook and like some of their pages. But in reality, I'm actually stepping foot into retailers like Home Goods and Target because those are more aligned with my budget. So let's talk about how Ground Truth takes that location data to reach relevant consumers at the right place and at the right time. So first, we want to make sure that we're understanding where device IDs are located in the real world. And then secondly, we want to contextualize their location information. We partner with over 120,000 mobile apps like Pandora, ESPN, Words with Friends, to help us understand that location data of the mobile device IDs who are interacting with these apps. So once we have those device IDs location data and it's identified and then vetted for accuracy through our platform, we contextualize the location of the device IDs through our proprietary technology blueprints. And blueprints are just surgically precise virtual outlines of points of interest and or businesses. As a note, we currently have over 5 million blueprints in our system to date. So the blueprints functionality can be categorized into two buckets, really. One for visitation, so to help us detect past and also current foot traffic, which also provides us that metric of a visit. And then secondly, to create targeting tactics. So some that are unique to Ground Truth's platform are like the first party audiences that we're able to aggregate based on the past visitation patterns we've seen to blueprinted locations. So we're able to categorize those first party audiences into either behavioral audiences, brand loyalty audiences, or categorical audiences. So affluent shoppers, jewelry enthusiasts, or someone that's visited Macy's. So in review, Ground Truth believes that location reveals the most accurate representation of who a consumer is. And utilizing location-based marketing strategies can then help us identify and reach those relevant consumers in real time and or over time based on their physical behaviors. And then finally, our technology provides brands and or agencies with that holy grail of offline attribution in the metric of an in-store visit. So now that everyone's up to speed on why location is an important strategy to utilize, I'm going to hand it over to Nicole, who's going to spend a few minutes talking through the key insights through our Ground Truth's 2019 Holiday Strategy Playbook.
Thanks, Mary Claire. The insights I'm going to walk through today are based on a foot traffic analysis of around 250 major retailers across various categories on Ground Truth's ad platform. As mentioned, the data is pulled from the 2019 holiday time period, So it's a great indicator of consumer shopping behavior for this upcoming holiday season, which is actually approaching very quickly. So you don't need me to tell you that consumers spend money during the holidays. In fact, according to the NRF, 165 million Americans shopped in stores or online from Thanksgiving through Cyber Monday in 2018. But what's really interesting is when you're able to observe common consumer behaviors, including when, where, and how they are shopping. This is the type of data we are going to focus on today, so your business goes into the holiday season with the best strategy to maximize sales. So while consumers are shopping both in-store and online during this time frame, mobile devices play a key part in both scenarios, with 84% of consumers saying they will rely on their phones to research, price compare, and check product reviews during their 2019 holiday shopping. And while we see that sales are starting earlier and earlier each year, 66% of shoppers are still shopping for holiday gifts in the week leading up to Christmas. We are going to dive a bit deeper into day-over-day foot traffic patterns on the next slide. So this chart depicts day-over-day foot traffic to the overall retail category, indexed against daily average foot traffic from October 31st through January 1st, 2018 on Ground Truth's platform. So let's walk through 5 peaks in foot traffic that you just can't ignore from last year. So starting backwards with number 5, as mentioned, people are starting to shop earlier and earlier because retailers are now pushing sales into early November. We found that foot traffic was 43% above average starting as early as November 3rd. So that's that first peak right here. But Black Friday is still a huge driver for in-store foot traffic. And on Black Friday, we saw that retail foot traffic increased 73%. So that's the second highest peak during this entire time frame. And although we see people shopping earlier, there will always be the last minute gifters, who we will talk more about later. We see that in the 2 weeks leading up to Christmas, retail foot traffic jumps 19%. And then the Saturday before Christmas had the highest volume of foot traffic throughout the entire time period with a 73% increase, and that's that largest peak right here. And the shopping madness isn't over after December 25th. Don't forget about customers making returns. There's a 27% increase in foot traffic the day after Christmas. So now that we've overviewed the general foot traffic patterns over the entire holiday timeframe, let's circle back to the first holiday of the season and arguably my favorite, Thanksgiving. As shoppers prep for Thanksgiving feasts and all of the Friendsgiving meals and the days surrounding the holiday, we see major spikes to grocery-related stores. We look specifically at big box retailers, national and local grocery stores, and warehouse retailers such as Costco to see the average number of visits to each in the week leading up to Thanksgiving. When we combined all 3 categories, we saw that shoppers make about 4.6 different visits throughout the week leading up to Thanksgiving. So that's about 5 different times to reach people in 1 week's time leading up to the holiday. Shoppers frequent big box stores about 2.2 times in the week leading up to Thanksgiving. And we see this is also where shoppers go for last minute items. So this chart on the right is the 7 days leading up to Thanksgiving. And we see that big box stores see 34% above average foot traffic on the actual day, while all the other categories see below average traffic, and that's obviously because most retailers are closed on Thanksgiving. We also know that big box stores open around 6 p.m. To start their Black Friday deals early. Unsurprising, but worth noting, foot traffic to liquor stores spiked 77% the day before Thanksgiving, as those hosting are likely stocking up on spirits or people attending other Thanksgiving meals shopping for a gift. So that's just something we wanted to point out. So that brings us to the next holiday, which is just 1 day later, and that's Black Friday. So Black Friday is good business for malls, which see 159% uptick in foot traffic on the retail holiday. For Black Friday 2018, 40% of women respondents and 42% of male respondents said they would visit 3 to 5 stores during the shopping holiday. And what better way to hit different stores than at the mall? But as customers flock to get the biggest deals, we see visitation to electronics stores increase 212% above the holiday average. Similarly, big ticket items like jewelry drove 168% increase in foot traffic. And then after shoppers cross off their big ticket gifts from their list, we see traffic to sporting goods stores, department stores, and beauty stores rise in the triple digits as well. So we briefly mentioned last minute shoppers earlier when we called out that the Saturday before Christmas had the highest volume of foot traffic to retail stores. You can see from the chart on the left that shoppers are headed to sporting goods stores, jewelry stores, and of course liquor stores again, followed by electronics, apparel, discount, and beauty stores. So could you have guessed who would make up these last minute shoppers? We found that our Generation Z and dad's audiences were the biggest culprits of doing their shopping last minute. So if you're looking to reach impressionable shoppers in the days leading up to Christmas, these would be your audiences to target. And with 76% of Gen Z shoppers using their phone in store aisles, mobile is the most obvious and best way to reach them. Now you may be thinking, what can you do with all these insights to maximize sales for your business? Well, here are our recommendations on how to best leverage insights and location technology during the holidays. The first is to reach customers at the right time and place to influence behaviors and amplify your marketing message with real-time targeting. Use insights to determine the most opportune times to stand out amongst your competitors during this promotion-heavy time. Second is to engage with current or potential customers multiple times throughout the holidays with retargeting. It is especially important to stay top of mind since there are so many different promotions being thrown at shoppers during this time. And the last is to build rich audience profiles and target them with hyper-relevant messaging. We suggest building these audiences based on both demographic data and visitation data for the most accurate audience profiles. So that is all I have today. I'm going to hand the mic back over to Mary Claire, where she will be diving into our Ads Manager platform.
Awesome. Thanks, Nicole. Okay, so that was all really helpful in terms of like being able to utilize those insights to create some really unique strategies to have and create successful drive to store campaigns. So what we're going to do now is we're going to jump into the Ads Manager platform and go through a high-level overview of how we can create a campaign to drive in-store traffic. So I'm going to share my screen. And let's get started. Okay, so just as a note, I know we were talking about blueprints and I wanted to showcase this. This is our internal dashboard discovery. And what you're looking at right now is, again, one of our proprietary blueprints here. So you can see the thresholds. We are able to see the retail block, which is shaded in pink, the parking lot, which is shaded in orange, and then the actual four walls of this business, which are shaded in green. You can see, like I mentioned, the very surgically precise outlines of each one of these layers. So I just wanted to bring some context again on what a blueprint looks like since you're hearing that word. All right, cool. So let's get into Ads Manager. Awesome. So what I've done so far is I've created a mock campaign. And today we're going to drive traffic and create a campaign to drive traffic into my business, Tilly's Toy Chest. So as I note, this is our self-serve platform Ads Manager. And you know, if you reach out to any one of our Ground Truth account executives, they'll be happy to take you through a demo of the platform itself. But hopefully this will give you a really good overview as a start. So today, based on what Nicole was saying, we're going to go through those three different strategies and employ them under the campaign of trying to drive traffic to Tilly's Toy Chest. So we mentioned that real-time targeting, and I've selected these three ad groups or created these three ad groups, and we'll go through them together. But that real-time targeting to reach competitors, people that are at my competitors in real time. We're also going to employ a retargeting campaign to reach those consumers after they've left my competitors' locations. And we're also going to utilize some of Ground Truth's unique first-party audiences that are going to be relevant again. So as you can see, this is the campaign dashboard. Down at the bottom are where all the ad groups live. So I'm going to select this first one that I created. And again, I created all of this to begin with to help for time purposes. But the first thing that it's going to do is take you to the targeting goal page. As a note, you have 3 different options to select from to start employing all of the different targeting tactics that you want to utilize under your campaign goal. You build them out one at a time, but as you can see, you want to include multiple to help you understand what's going to be best to reach that relevant audience. So you have the option of targeting by location, which is reaching people in real time based on where they're currently located. Audiences, which is employing, any one of our first party audiences that are in our system based on behavior, brand, and category, but also custom audiences that you're able to build through the custom blueprints that you can create within our system. And then targeting by weather is the third option, where you're able to serve ads when a certain weather condition is being met or forecasted. So our first option today is going to be selecting that targeting in real time to reach people while they're currently on premise in one of the national retailers that's going to be my competitor. When I select next, this is where I'm going to start building out the targeting tactic to reach those consumers in real time at these locations. So I'm going to name my ad group, Tilly's competitor, and I can even say like this is our real-time targeting strategy. And then under configure your on-premise targeting, this is where you're going to select from one of those blueprints that we already have in our system. So as you can see, I selected Target, Disney Store, the retailer Five Below, even American Girl. These are going to be retailers where I know my relevant audience is going to be walking into during the holiday season. As a note, right now, when you select them from here, it's going to automatically populate them at the national level. So what I want to do is drill down to where Tilly's Toy Chest is located in Atlanta, Georgia, and apply additional location filters that would make sense. So I'm just going to add zip codes near my store to reach consumers that are within these stores that are within these zip codes to nail it down. As you can see, you have the ability to select radial and drill all the way down to the in-store level. Our recommendation is definitely to put a radial fence around these blueprinted areas. This gives you, it's a more scalable option as you're allowed and you're able to reach that consumer throughout their consumer journey. So while they're arriving at that Target, while they're inside that Target, but also as they're leaving that Target. So again, this is hitting those national retailers or regional retailers. But you can see at the bottom that I've also created my own location group of local small to mid-sized businesses that would also make sense for me to reach. How I was able to build this location group was selecting add new location group. When I do that, it's going to take me to a secondary URL called Location Manager. And this URL, this platform is synced with Ads Manager. So any blueprint that I'm creating within Location Manager will be found in Ads Manager to start targeting against. So as you can see, I've built out 2 location groups. One's for my loyalty location to understand that physical foot traffic to my business. And I also created a location group with a few of my competitors that aren't the national and regional brands. I also have the option when I'm building out a blueprint to also create a custom audience based on foot traffic that we're seeing into these local businesses. And I'm able to build that audience by just selecting the action of build targeting. So now what I'm going to do is toggle back over to Ads Manager and search for these location groups. So the first one is the competitors that I want to serve my ads to when consumers are in those locations. And I simply just type in Tilly's, and then I'm going to see a location group as an option. And this is where I can find that location group. So once that's selected, I'm going to scroll down to specify where I'm trying to drive my consumer to. Is it to an online location to learn more, or is it to that physical business of Tilly's Toy Chest to understand the foot traffic? Because it's the latter, I'm going to select the real world drive to location option. Similar to what we did above, I'm going to type in Tilly's under location group. I'm going to find my actual loyalty location. When I select that, I'm now able to understand the foot traffic that's going to be attributed from this campaign. The last couple of things I want to point out are setting my optimization strategy to delivery. Because we want to serve the max impressions to drive people into stores, this is the best option. And then finally, I definitely want to build out and save those device IDs that I'm reaching within the American Girl doll store, within the Target, within the Disney store, to reach them after they've left. So in order to do that, I'm going to select build audience and then type in this retargeted audience segment that I'm building out. Now I'm actually going to go build another ad group to find this particular audience that I'm building to start serving media against it. The next page is just putting in those ad creatives that I'm going to be serving to this particular group of customers that are in those locations. So there are 4 sizes that make up the majority of our inventory, and they're listed here. We definitely want to make sure that we're including all 4 of these sizes so we can have an equal chance of rotation. Once those ad creatives are put into the system, as you can see here, I'm going to select next, and then I'm going to input my budget and my scheduling for this particular ad group. So if my budget overall for my campaign is $2,000, I'm going to put maybe $500 behind this particular strategy. So my time frame is going to be about a month. I can manipulate that info here. And then Ground Truth's minimum floor bid is $3.50. So this is a good baseline since I'm running my campaign for at least a month, over 14 days. I can start at this minimum bid of $3.50. So based on that bid, based on that budget, I have the projected impressions of 142,000-ish to serve within this time frame. And as a note, all of these impressions are going to be served and distributed equally and paced evenly based on this flight. Once all that information is in, I'm going to hit save. At the top, it's going to say everything's saved successfully. And I'm going to hit this back arrow to take me back to the campaign dashboard. So now I'm going to create my second strategy. As a note, just as a tip, what you can do is select the ad group that you previously made and hit duplicate. So you're cloning the original group. All of the information that's within that group is saved. So so you're not having to recreate the next ad group that you're making. If you're utilizing the same creative, it just stays there and you can go make any changes to the targeting that you need. So for example, my next strategy is going to find that retargeted audience that I built from that first strategy of Tilly's competitors. So I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to select the target by audience option because I built a retargeted audience. That's where this is going to be housed. I select next. I'm going to rename, obviously, my ad group Tilly's competitor retargeting because that's what this strategy is about. In order to find the retargeted audience, I'm going to select the search bar. And I'll have a few options here. I can search for behaviors or brands or even categories. And similarly, the location group, because I created a custom blueprint for my competitors, all of those custom audience will be listed under location group. But in this case, I'm just searching for that retargeting segment, and it's going to live under the option of segment. So I've selected that. And again, everything's going to stay the same. Now, I do want to apply an additional location filter to make sure that I'm sequestering those impressions within that DMA of Atlanta because that's where it makes sense. I want to make sure that those impressions are staying in a relative area versus serving them nationally. So once I've applied that additional location filter, I'm going to make sure that my drive-to location is still the same, Tilly's Toy Chest. Selecting next, I'll see that I have the same creatives running. If I want to swap anything out, I have that option. And when I go to next for the budget and scheduling page, this is where, again, I'm going to make sure if I want to run my retargeting for longer or shorter amount of time, I can do that here. Maybe my budget's going to be different for retargeting or I have a different CPM. Whatever that looks like, I can adjust those here. Once I press save, it's going to tell me at the top everything's saved successfully. I'm going to hit the back button. Takes me again to the campaign dashboard. And then the final strategy is those relevant audiences. So again, I can duplicate the ad group to create this strategy, selecting edit, making sure that my targeting goal is selected as audience, hitting next, renaming this ad group to what my strategy is compromise stuff. And then I'm going to select all audiences that make sense. So, based on what we learned, I mean, obviously moms and dads, especially if it's a toy chest or if I'm, representing any type of toys, and, the demographic being, subject to kids, then I'm definitely going to want to attract those moms and dads. So here's a few options that I selected from the system, a few behavioral audiences, a brand audience like Toys R Us. And then I also, as you can see, selected those location groups that I created. So loyalists of my business itself, and then also those consumers that have visited my competitors. So these are who are being served my ad. Again, applying that additional location filter of just serving that Atlanta DMA, these audiences within this specific location and area. Making sure that my drive-to destination is selected as Tilly's Toy Chest, again, to understand that foot traffic measurement of consumers that were part of this audience makeup if they were driven into my particular location because of those ads they were served. Optimization at delivery. Selecting next is going to take me to the creative. Everything, again, set up and copied from that last ad group. Everything looks good here. No changes need to be made. And then finally, selecting the budget and the flight dates. So for this option, I know for a fact that Ground Truth's first party audiences perform extremely well. So I want to put a lot of my budget behind this tactic. So I'm allocating $1,000 of my $2,000 to go towards this strategy. And I'm increasing my bid to $5. Once that's saved, everything's good to go. I hit the back button. And again, back to this dashboard. So a few things to note about the Ads Manager platform's dashboard. Everything at the top obviously is a campaign overview. I have a $2,000 budget. Once I go live, I'll start seeing total spend. This is the only live read. Everything else in terms of impressions, unique reach, physical visitation. This is physical, not website. Click-through rate. And then secondary action rate, which is a metric that Ground Truth's able to provide you if you are utilizing one of our complimentary templates or landing pages that you can find on the creative section when you're building out your ad group. Basically, we're able to show you how many people took a second step and went to the landing page. And just as a note, I can show you what that looks like. Basically, again, that's just a metric if you are utilizing the landing page in and of itself. And again, you can find that under the ad creatives and then toggling here to see the templates that we have, you have access to. They're all complimentary and they're all customizable. Awesome. So like I was mentioning before, everything at the top on the campaign dashboard, the only live read is the total spend. Everything else is on a 24-hour delay. So just being cognizant of that when you do launch. A few other things that I'm asked frequently is how long it takes when when you launch a campaign to start serving ads. That's about 45 minutes to an hour. So just being aware of that. Also, when you're on the campaign dashboard, you have a ton of different reports that you're able to pull. You can slice and dice the data how you see fit, downloading it into a chart form, or also taking it and downloading it into an Excel file, which is listed here. So a number of different reports. You can also see the location of your impressions all the way down to the store visit level. And my favorite part is seeing what audiences are actually visiting or resonating and clicking through from a behavioral level, moms, Gen X, Gen Z, affluent shoppers, people that are in market for auto, all the way down to a demographic level. So am I reaching those males 18 to 24 like I thought I was, or is it more female-driven audience? And all of this information can be utilized to make more strategic optimizations throughout your current campaign, future campaigns on Ads Manager, but also you can employ all of this information and take it across marketing channels like on search and social as well. And that is the long and short of creating a successful drive to store campaign this holiday season. So I'm going to take some time now to answer some of the questions that we have received throughout the course of this presentation. So some of the first ones that we had, Stuart, you asked, does the behavioral and categorical audiences building only use location data, or does it also incorporate transactional data from retailers? So how our first party audiences are built are only based on the physical in-store visitation. It's not layering on top of that any type of transactional or sales data. Let's see. So you also asked, are all of these audiences using only first-party ground truth data? So a lot of the audiences, yes, are technically utilizing the in-store traffic piece that we're seeing to the blueprints. So that's how we're able to aggregate. If we're seeing, for example, like a mom's audience, we're seeing a device ID, early in the morning, go to Starbucks and then visit, a school location, and then go to a Target, and then go to the grocery store. So this is how we're able to identify a mom's audience, but we're also using demographic information that we're able to pull from our partnering apps. And that's like age, sex, household income, ethnicity, and that sort of thing. So yes, you can target by gender, Chris, which I just mentioned. You have the ability within Ads Manager to select under demographic settings, whether you want to target just male or female, or again, household income, and other options like that. Okay, so why does a blueprint matter? That's a great question from someone in Illinois. Blueprints are different from geofencing because blueprints are going to be able to understand the foot traffic that's occurring to that specific business itself. And as you could see back on my screen where it was just the 3 layers and we had the green that was outlining that target, we're able to understand when a device ID enters that threshold because of the partnerships with those apps. So geofencing is different because it doesn't allow us with that level of accuracy or precision to understand foot traffic or create those first party audiences, which again are super accurate. And as a note, every year Ground Truth goes through a third party audit for our in-store visitation tracking piece to our blueprints. At this time, we are the only location partner out there that has a third party audit done on the accuracy of our blueprints or just in general. So in 2019, the marketing research firm Numerator was able to ascertain a 94.4% accuracy to our in-store visitation of blueprints, which is something we're so extremely proud of that we are able to say that and claim that. And again, not grading our own homework type of thing. So Rich, you asked where are these ads placed? So we partner with over 120,000 mobile apps like Pandora, CNN, Wall Street Journal, Words with Friends. That is where your ad or your client's ad is being displayed across that app network. So John, you asked, is pay per visit available? So that's a great point. So we currently in the Ads Manager platform have rolled out the cost per visit buying methodology. That's currently in beta. So if that's something that you're interested in learning more about to see if the location that you would like to drive traffic to and only pay per visit is feasible, you can reach out to either myself or your Ground Truth account executive to learn more info about that. Cool. John, you also asked, is our inventory available in Canada? So actually, yes, we do have mobile inventory available in Canada. There's a little bit of a different process in terms of accessing our Canadian inventory. I can definitely send through more information about that to you, John, no problem. But to answer your question, yes, you can do a lot of our different targeting tactics for Canadian inventory. Rich, you asked, what are the KPIs here to prove an ROI? Is foot traffic the best way to do it here, or can it be attached to a conversion in-store sale? So for those businesses with brick and mortar, the best way that you can do this is having a conversation first and foremost. If you're an agency with your client specifically that is looking to drive that in-store visitation to their location, to help them understand or to help you understand what their average basket size is or ticket size or something like that, to help them understand what is the value of a customer to them. So if you can identify what it costs them to drive a visit in, then you can create a campaign, and we can help you do that to help you understand if you can get someone through that door of your business or of your client's brick and mortar business for a lower for a lower budget or a lower spend. Say, for example, your average ticket is $20. If we can drive someone into that store for $10 or $15, that's how we back into that return on ad spend conversation. Okay. So right now, the countries that Ads Manager supports are the US and Canada, but we are looking to expand our inventory on an international level, but right now that's where it stands. So Stuart also asked, can you measure new versus repeat visitors? We do have this availability now within our platform where you're able to understand if there's a new customer. So like it would be an incremental, it's called reporting by incremental visits. So that's currently in beta, and that is somewhat of a workaround as it stands for understanding who's a new visitor to your location versus who is a loyalist. So Dar, you asked, are you able to choose which app partners your ad's shown on? So how I like to explain location-based advertising is when you're running a location-based advertising campaign, and yes, we partner with 120,000 apps, you're really purchasing the accuracy of reaching that customer in the offline space or in that offline world. And that's what you want to be really accurate about. So we're not as focused on being able to choose and cherry pick which app partners we run on. More are we reaching this person in real time where it matters most? So no, you're not able to pick which app partners your ad is run on, but our team does our due diligence on the back end to make sure that all of the app partners we work with are 100% brand safe. And we even have a whitelist that you can run across if there's ever concern there. Okay, so let's see. There's a lot coming in, so I'm just making sure that I'm getting to everyone. Okay, so Nathan, you asked, did the customers have to open an app to see an ad, or would push notification deliver the ad if they are enabled? So we don't have the option of serving push notifications. It's all in-app, in the mobile in-app and inventory environment. And it depends on what type of targeting tactic that you're employing on whether or not the customer has to open the app or not. So if you're doing a real-time targeting piece, reaching people in real time where they're currently located, then yes, they would need to open that app to be served an ad. However, if you're utilizing one of our audiences, or if you're utilizing a custom audience that you're creating or retargeting, then they don't necessarily have to have that ad open for us to understand if they're a relevant audience. We can reach them after the fact. Okay, let me see. Let me scroll back to make sure I didn't miss anything. And I think, Nicole, there was one question for you, I believe. Okay, Stuart asked, yes, Nicole, can you help answer this? How do restaurants perform over the holidays? This category was missing from that Thanksgiving information that you shared. And you're on mute, by the way. There you go.
I'm here.
Okay. Good
question. So for our holiday guides, we usually focus on the retail category. However, I did, while Mary Claire was going through Ads Manager, I looked back into the raw data so that I could answer this question. And we do split up our restaurants into 4 different categories: quick service, fast casual, casual dining, fine dining. Overall, we do see that the fine dining category increases in December by a lot, just because of work, holiday parties, and then on Christmas Eve, the fine dining category saw the highest increase, with about a 20% increase over the holiday time period. And then everyone was pretty low on Christmas Day, obviously. But I would say the restaurant category does pretty well in December and even into January as well. But if you're looking for more restaurant insights, groundtruth.com/insights, we put out restaurant specific reports and blogs all the time. So I would definitely check that out. And you can even filter on our website for restaurant specific insights. So check it out, and maybe next year we'll include restaurant in our guides.
Awesome. Thanks, Nicole. So I did want to mention a new targeting tactic that is helpful, especially if you have a client or you yourself have a lot of CRM data as it relates to your customers. So we have a new integration with a data aggregator called LiveRamp. And what you're able to do is if you have enough data, so we'll say maybe 1,000 rows of data, that can be customer names, emails, phone numbers, physical addresses, what you can do is upload that list of information into LiveRamp's dashboard, and we help you with this partnership. But basically what LiveRamp can do is convert all of that CRM data into mobile device IDs, into a like custom audience, which then you can upload into Ads Manager to target specifically to. So this is a unique and new strategy and new targeting tactic that you're able to employ on Ads Manager, which is like super nifty. So I wanted to bring that up as well. Okay, a few more questions. Okay, so Mike, you said you've got a small pie shop in a small town. You would like to drive people to order from your website, then schedule a pickup in store. Simple as offering a keyword discount on the ad creatives. So I guess the question is, can you do this? Absolutely. You can do it in having that. I always, especially when you're trying to drive people into your store, I often recommend to clients having some sort of incentive to encourage that visitation, whether it's a discount or a coupon or half off or some kind of reward. I think that's always helpful. So if that's helpful in answering your question in terms of like how you would do that and how to best drive, that would be my recommendation. If I didn't answer that question, just let me know. So Nathan, you asked, is there a cost for accessing Ads Manager? This is a brilliant question. This is a great question. I'm sorry I didn't answer it earlier. So one of the most beautiful things about accessing Ads Manager is that there is no minimum spend. There's no monthly subscription, nothing like that. So I did mention throughout the tutorial when we were creating that first, or when we were creating the campaign, that Ground Truth has a minimum CPM of $3.50 in order to access our app partnership inventory. That is the cost of running a campaign. So for example, that $3.50 has our platform fee baked into it, and that is what you're spending in order to run with this. So no minimums, no monthly subscriptions, and that's the basis of what you're probably wanting to know. Rich, I think you asked if any of this is being affected by the CCPA. And from my understanding at this time, which is the California Consumer Privacy Act, that it is not being affected by that. I would like to go back and verify if there has been any changes with Ground Truth's legal team to make sure I'm not misspeaking. But according to my what I know at this time, it is not being affected by CCPA. And then Stuart, you asked how you're able to access the discovery info. So discovery is an internal platform at this time. Something that's really cool that's coming out in Q4 is that you will eventually be able to see within the UI of Ads Manager and Location Manager, your blueprinted location or blueprinted locations. I'm not for sure what exactly that looks like at this time because it has not been released, but that will be an interim of how we're able to incorporate discoveries info into the UI of Ads Manager. And also, yes, Dar, you can upload video, static, GIF, HTML5, so you have options and you don't have to just run static images. Awesome, awesome. Okay, so we're nearing the end of the Q&A and of our webinar. We have thoroughly enjoyed spending this time with you, and we truly appreciate you taking time out of your day to hop on and converse with us and learn more about how to employ our 2019 insights into driving traffic to your retailers or your businesses. As a note, our team's going to follow up with an email that includes a one-sheeter on the holiday strategy guide, so you can have that on hand. But there's also going to be a very quick survey that we'd love for you guys to participate in so we can understand how we did. But again, we really appreciate your time today. We wish you all the best. And if you have any questions, please reach out to us. Thanks, guys, so much.